Hi everybody, and welcome to the premiere of the D&D 5e game Veil of Shadows, set in my homebrew world of Etios. First things first, I'd like everyone to go around, introduce themselves, and who they are playing for today. Let's start with the overlay, so that's going to be Sev, you're first.
Okay. I'm Sev, or Guildmaster Sev. Today I'm playing Agatha Hastings, who is a human shadow sorcerer. What all should I...
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Shadow.
Hi, I'm Shadow. Today I'll be playing Alva, who is an Earth Genasi bard.
Forta.
Hi, I'm Forta at Forta Vare. Shoot, I completely blanked about the back half of that sentence, but I'll be playing Ugo Go, a half-orc paladin.
And Noir.
Hello, everybody. I'm Noir. I will be playing Halcyed Lethalis, the Shatterkai Way of the Long Death Monk.
And just a reminder for everyone, we do have incentives for advantages, crits, corruption, which I am not ready for, y'all. Anything I'm missing before we get started? And I'm
I
Mare.
don't think so.
I'm your game master and literally everything else in this campaign. We start the game off in a city called Vumalor, the City of Metal. It is a large city full of metal buildings, hot, and the smell of sulfur and tang of metal fills the air. This city is also home to a school, an education system called the University, which is used, one, for training wizards and other spellcasters, but also used to keep an eye on planar disturbances throughout the continent. Etios is a fully desert continent, except for several areas, such as Vumalor, which just seems to be plucked off the side of a volcano. The four of you have been asked, or in some cases, volunteered, to go on a specific mission for the university. The four of you are in a top tower office. The office is round and full of bookshelves, each lining the wall around its circular perimeter. There is a heavy wooden desk in one corner, and what kind of looks like a globe in the center, surrounded by cushions and pillows, but instead of the world, it is constellations. And the entire ceiling shows the night sky, even though the daylight shines in through the open windows. What is everyone doing and a brief description of what your character looks like?
I can go first. Agatha is standing off to the side against near one of the bookshelves, flipping through one of the journals from her bag. She is on the shorter side. She's a little height deficient, and with long, inky black hair and green eyes. She has a very almost gaunt face, but she's could be considered pretty in a very haunting way.
I could pick someone, it's okay.
I can go. So Alva would be by the desk in the corner, perhaps leaning up against the edge of it. Alva, pretty tall, 5'8", wearing a red tunic, just plain brown traveling trousers. Most obvious features are the polished jade skin and the spiky rose coursed hair. Alva would have her pan flute out and would be fiddling, not playing anything, but just fiddling with it and being very anxious, probably fidgeting a lot, changing position as we wait.
Counter to that, despite being somewhat out of place here, Ugo is very much calm, just kind of casually arms crossed, waiting, listening, hearing what folk have to say. Ugo's a half-orc, tall, 6'5" He's got some faded brown hair that's questionably blonde, but might just be graying. Hard to say. And he's got gray-green skin and some face paint that makes it look like he's got teeth on the side of his face coming down to his lips.
All right. And probably standing uncomfortably close to the doorway would be a 6'2", completely covered, slender elven man with darker, gray, almost ashen skin. He has his hood up with tufts of silver hair that kind of escape through, and he would just be leaning against the wall with his hands clasped together, awkwardly just kind of gazing the room and seeing who's about, but not initiating any sort of social interaction.
At the desk is a middle-aged woman. You all have had some kind of connections and talks with the university, some of you more so than others. Some more on a permanent basis, some more quote-unquote on commission. But the woman who will be talking to you today is a woman named Priscilla Mindstorm. She was most recently promoted to head scryer at the university. She's currently sitting at her desk ruffling through some papers. She's probably about Alva's height, with a no-nonsense, tightly coiled bun with graying hair and bifocals sitting perched on her nose. After a moment, she places her stack of papers on the desks and looks at the four of you, haphazardly placed throughout her office. Thank you, everybody, for meeting with me today. I know we've all had a brief talk on the mission that the university would like the four of you to partake in, but this is just a bit of a debriefing and to answer any questions that you might have before you head out to the desert and the breach. Probably about at least a month and a half ago, there was a, planar rifts opening up in the desert. We thought it would be like a regular one and it would close up in time, but it hasn't. It's usually gone in a couple weeks. We sent out a previous team to do regular scouting, just checking it out and making sure there's no danger, friendly faces or not. But concerningly, only half of them came back. Right now, the breach is to the southwest of the city. Is there anything I can clarify or answer for anybody?
The ones that returned,
How far has it moved?
what did they say?
Well, Adabella and Swess, when they returned... Sorry, Noir, what was the question? I had a complete...
Okay, he says the ones that returned, what did they report? What did they say?
They reported that they were able to get in fairly easily, without any trouble, and they were separated from their companions via what they were able to describe as kind of like an earthquake, I guess. And before they were able to catch up with the other two, they were beset upon by creatures from the Shadowfell. Ugo Go, to answer your question, Um, in general, or throughout the course of since when the initial scouting party came back?
Since the party came back, I suppose. But yes?
So the shadow, it has been leaking into the material plane. It's hard to get an exact distance, but I'd say at least several more miles since they left. But it's my guess is that it's been increasing at an exponential rate. If I recall correctly, that's the area where you hail from, correct?
He just
Correct.
nods his head. Oh, sorry.
This is great.
Bring it there.
Seb, you're
And-
muted.
Did they say anything about certain creatures that they came across while there or in the immediate area?
Yes and no. They were kind of they didn't get a good enough look at it when they were fleeing from not falling into a chasm at that time. Things with teeth and maws seeming to melt into the shadows. Though they did report off in the distance, they did see a night walker, but that was some ways away and they avoided it. But that was before they split up.
And how many other casualties have been reported at this time?
Reported to the university specifically. This is the middle of the desert. We don't really, unless they come to us, it's really hard to tell who has been a casualty. But right now, I don't want to call them a casualty, but just right now, the other half of the group. So, Mercy and Liam. If you need it, the university can supply a transportation to get out there. It shouldn't take more than a day or two, at most, to get to the breach. Will you need transportation? We have a couple sand skiffs that you are able to use if you would like.
I won't need one.
I have a faithful mount. His name is Horse.
And I have ox. I shall be all right.
That's good to hear. Alva?
I'll make do.
Okay.
I'll make do. Don't worry about me.
I had to at least offer. The quicker you get there, the quicker we can hopefully close this up. It's difficult to scry into other planes, but anything I have gotten back has not boded well in my gut, so to say. I don't think it's going to go away on its own.
Any suggestions on how we might deal with this?
Honestly, this is the first time that this has happened. I know some variation of our regular transportation plane shift spells might be able to do it, and I know Ugo Go's and his people have been able to close rifts like this before in the past, internally, though the university has not. So Ugo has offered to lend his expertise in that regard. You might be able to fill them in a bit more than I will, Ugo Go. I'm hoping that even if you can't figure it out in the end, you can at least bring back a possibility and more information where we'd be able to succeed on our side.
All right. We'll do what we can.
And that's really all we ask. if you can find Mercy and Liam, if they're still alive, please.
Of course.
Oh, well, I have faith in Mercy. So they're probably doing everything they can at this point in time.
I have faith in Mercy too. I also have faith that she will keep Liam out of unnecessary trouble.
That boy is nothing but trouble.
He's lucky he is knowledgeable, or else he would be falling into every pit that crosses his path. Because he's always running forward.
Well, and Alva stands up straight. Let's go.
What was that, Ugo? Go?
Head Squire, your visions. What
Yes.
insights have they held?
As I already said, it's very difficult to see past the planes for some reason. But
The glimpses you've received?
the glimpses I have received are confusing, so to speak. I am able to sense a great growing power, as well as, oddly enough, light. Which makes no sense, considering it's the Shadowfell.
That's very interesting.
I think interesting is an understatement. Yeah, please feel free to take any preparations you need. I know Adabella and Swess are still recovering from some of their wounds. When they returned, they took a couple beatings in their flight. I'm sure they'd also be willing to answer any questions if you had any. But
All right.
their report was fairly comprehensive.
Would you guys like to go see the two of them? Or shall we just head out?
I defer to the will of the group.
Then let us visit. Perhaps they'll have something nice to say as we are seen off.
Agatha, a moment alone, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Alva, you would know where to find the group. You've spent a lot of time at the university.
So I will start to head out of the room and wave Hal and Ugo. Follow me. I will take you to the others.
Very well.
Lead the way.
Priscilla stands up from her desk and makes her way over to you, Agatha. And she just looks down at you, an inscrutable expression on her face. And if you will allow her, she will pull you into a hug.
I'll definitely allow it and return the hug.
And in your ear, she whispers, "Please stay safe, okay? You are essentially my daughter at this point."
I'll stay as safe as I can, but in case something does happen to go wrong, I want to thank you for everything you've done for me. You've essentially become my mother when my parents died, and you've helped me this far, and I know that couldn't have been easy, so thank you.
Her grip tightens a bit. 1 second, I have one other thing. And she'll go over back to her desk and rummage through some drawers and pull out a couple scrolls. I don't know if anyone is capable of casting these spells in your group, but these are 3 scrolls of sending.
All right. She'll take them and put them in her bag. Thank you. We'll put good use to them. And send back any information that we can find, no matter what happens.
I know there is a slight failure of sending messages across planes, so don't be too concerned if you do not hear back from me, even though the chance is slim.
Of course.
Best of luck.
Thank you. And at that, she'll turn around and head out towards where Alva and Ugo and Halcyed went.
Okay. Alva, Halcyed and Ugo Go. Alva is able to lead you to essentially what is a common room. Think college dorm, common rooms in dorms and such like that. You don't immediately see Swess, but you do see Adabella, who is a dwarf with a shocking red hair and a scar going from her nose to the side of her scalp. She has a splint on one arm and is just absent-mindedly staring out a window.
I lost my mouse there for a second. Alva's gonna walk into the room, and very, very loudly is just gonna say, "Atabella, there you are," and stroll up.
Hi, Alva.
Hello
as
there,
always.
survivor. What can I say?
What can I do for you? I've heard the rumors going around that you're following in our group's footsteps.
You know, succeeding where others may not have. But my friends have questions for you. And I'll gesture for the other two to introduce themselves.
Hal is just gonna walk up. Not getting the cue that he's supposed to introduce himself, he's just immediately gonna go into questions. So,
She doesn't seem completely fazed by that.
I heard tell that there was a night walker. Can you confirm this to be true?
Yeah. When we first walked in to the breach, probably within the first couple hours, we saw one off in the distance and immediately changed direction.
A wise decision indeed. You're lucky to be alive.
We know of them and we know our capabilities. Though Liam full-heartedly wanted to get a better look for research purposes.
A less wise decision.
He is very foolish.
And yet he survived.
The Nightwalker. As of right now, I don't know.
Tell me, friends, what is the Night Walker?
You cut out, Forta. You were asking what a Nightwalker was?
Yeah.
I only know of them briefly. I am not so well versed in some other planar beings. I mostly go there for guides. But it is a large beast made out of shadow. They do not take kindly to visitors, from what I understand, and are not kind. Your companion, and she inclines her head at Halcyed, might be able to get in more depth than what I cannot. Or Swess. Swess is a nerd.
They grow to the size of 20 feet. And legend has it they are made of a collection of the souls of evil men. Many of my kin trained themselves against these creatures. Very few survive. If one has made it to the material plane, then death will surely follow in its wake.
Well, when we left, the breach wasn't large enough for a creature of that size to fit through, so I'm hoping not. Unless it can shapeshift.
Then we can take heart in that.
Agatha, I say at this point, if you were to follow, you would be here by now.
Adabella,
Agatha.
how are you faring since you returned?
Besides sore bones and healing wounds, and healing pride, well enough.
I suppose that's all we can hope for at this point. Is there anything that wasn't put in the report that you could tell us?
What are you looking for?
Just any sort of information that could help us.
We were only in there a couple days. Swess says he's been in there into the Shadowfell before. Surprisingly. He said it felt very strong. Like darkness was creeping under his skin. Or attempting to.
That's worrying.
Coming from you, that's rich.
Well, let's hope that it doesn't get any worse. Do the rest of you have any other questions?
Nothing further.
I would like to speak with this Swess.
He's in his office, probably scribbling and writing down our adventures in his book with embellishments and excited. Well, he doesn't.
Excellent.
One last question before we go.
Is it about your
What?
Nothing. Never mind. Go ahead, Alva.
I was simply just going to ask, what state was Marcy and Liam in the last time you saw them? And why did you split up?
Didn't have much of a choice, honestly. When you are trying to jump out of the way of falling into a fissure, some people went one way and some people went the other. And then when you're running from your life from things with teeth, self-preservation sometimes goes first and trying. When you're running away, you don't want to run towards the thing. But from what I could say, they made it out on the other side. They didn't fall in.
Well, that's good news, Alva. At least
It could be better. But anyway,
I'm certain Mercy will be just fine.
she always is.
She can kick my ass any day. So
Has a knack for landing on her feet.
she's not a tabaxi. But yes.
Well, shall we move on? The faster we get done here, the faster we can get into danger.
I agree.
And I suppose it's off to Swess's office.
Might I ask you all a question before we continue forward?
Of course.
If we are going to get into danger, I'd imagine at some point it'd be useful for us to know each other's capabilities. What exactly is it that you all do?
I'm gonna get going. says Annabella. And she picks up a book she had off sitting to the side and leaves.
Rest well.
Agatha will wave her off. Well, I'm a shadow sorcerer.
I see.
You weave the shadows?
In a manner of speaking, yes.
Hmm.
Partly why I was asked to go on this mission.
We
What was that?
What was that?
You cut out, Forta.
just him remarking that they don't have many of those where he's from.
And the rest?
Agatha is a rare breed. I am your local resident bard with a knack for stopping things.
And you're the one that's meant to shut the portal.
I
Oh
I'm
no.
sorry, could you repeat that?
He looks at Ugo Go and goes, and you're the one that's meant to shut the portal, correct?
I most certainly am.
Let's see.
We can find something of comparable strength. We may be able to use it against the shadow, the darkness, the strange light within. Perhaps that is why it grows. It is fleeing this unnatural light.
Perhaps. What sort of methods do you use to close the rifts?
The wise folk usually... There's rituals, there's specific motions and words and songs. But the main thing is we need something from the place of comparable value.
Agatha, you might be the most familiar in general with Ugo Go and his tribes out in the desert. Techniques used by them are more active, while the universities are more reactive. They make a much better show of trying to get them closed ASAP instead of waiting and then reacting. But a lot of ritual type magics.
Okay.
If Ugo, would you have supplied any of that to the university in terms of details?
To certain point, none of the nothing that they could reproduce per se, but enough to know that a lot of it is like a souped up sanctuary spell or things of that nature.
You would have, since you do work full-time for the university, you would be aware of all that, Agatha.
Okay. All right.
Well, my
So,
curiosity is
please.
sated.
Hopefully not permanently. We have many more things to explore yet.
Lead the way.
Are you leading to Swess?
Do you two want to see Swess, or should we just head out?
I'm of the mind of heading out.
I
Ugo
would
Go?
also like to get going, but I mean, perhaps Swess has something useful to say for once.
I highly doubt that, but we can go ask. It's worth a shot, I suppose.
At the very least, I would like to know what it is he saw.
All right.
Okay. Swess's office is closer to the library and farther down towards the ground floor of the university. His door is wide open. It seems like he has the equivalent of an open door policy. And inside you do see, like a lot of the people that work here, bookshelves, some papers strewed around, and you all see a goblin writing in a book at his desk. Very wrinkly, much older, some tufts of patchy hair on his head. Nodding to themselves. Does not seem to notice you come in, or at least outside the door.
Wes?
Oh,
No. Ugo would have walked right in.
hell yeah.
Doors open.
Yes, hello. Are you a student? My memory is getting hazy with all the classes I've had to teach over the years.
Agatha will walk in behind him.
Aggie.
No, not a student.
Bless.
What brings you and your friends to my office?
We are being sent to the rift.
Oh. My most well wishes to the four of you.
Thank you. I do believe Ugo Go had some questions, perhaps.
Sure. I can definitely answer where I am able.
I have only 3. The first, I'm told, said this darkness was strong, like it crept into you somehow.
Yes. The Shadowfell is, at least to non-natives, is very chill. Not so much a uncomfortable, but it's cold. There is no sun. And I have been there before, but it was oppressive, if that makes sense. It felt like it wanted to just enter me and chill me from the inside out.
And this is abnormal?
At least since I was there last, yes. Usually it's just a pleasant temperature, but not so much where you would be shivering, like I've heard of something called spring, but spring does not exist in Vumalor, so maybe up at Zephyr's Nest, spring exists there, but it's temperate.
This strange fissure.
Yes.
Were you able to glean any insight into it?
Oh, yes, I did.
Perhaps its cause, or...
I didn't realize what it was at first until I got back to the university. But it seems like that it is essentially the Shadowfell equivalent of an earthquake. I don't know how much and how well versed you are in planar terminology, but the Shadowfell has got odd traveling conditions. You can usually go somewhere much quicker than it would normally take on the material plane. Sometimes this weird spatial distortion results in an earthquake.
And my final question. What do you know of the capabilities of Night Stalkers?
Oh,
What ways would one guard against them?
be very strong and strong will of not dying. It would be a feat for, honestly, the 8 of us if we were all there to take one down. I don't know.
I see.
I know I have heard rumors that they could point at you and you would keel over. I don't wish to experience that for myself.
Neither do I. This feeling you got, did you suspect that it could have been from a certain entity? Was there a presence nearby that could have caused it?
I couldn't pinpoint anything. It felt like the equivalent of walking into a dense fog that you could not shake off.
I understand. Well, hopefully that doesn't turn into anything. But thank you for your information.
Alva, you're uncharacteristically quiet.
Perhaps this is my first mission where I really have to pay attention to the details. I'm not just, muscle.
Well, it's good to see you taking it seriously.
How hard is it to get back out once you're in?
If the rift is still there, fairly easy. If you have the right spell set, such as a plane shift spell, fairly easy. If the Shadowfell is a connecting plane, so to speak, you could walk in one plane, and if you see a portal, you can walk out to another. Not necessarily the material. It's like a hallway with lots of doors. And if they're unlocked, you can get through them. But if you have lock picks or the key, or not that I've seen this last one done, but if you brute force it, you can get through.
Just have to hope you end up in the right place.
Mm-hmm. But I didn't see any, and this is all theory, but there's a possibility of other portals in there.
Well, that is all of my questions.
Mine as well.
I am finished.
Halcyed, did you have any questions?
I have nothing to say.
Well, off we go.
I did remember something. Alva, 1 minute.
And I'll wave everybody out.
I'll lead the two of them out to where we need to go to start heading out.
I didn't think of it much at first when we were sitting at camp. But you know how Mercy is. Strong-headed and got a sharp senses. I don't know where she gets it from. Maybe she stole mine. I don't know. But she did want me to tell you that if anything happens, she's not going to let this darkness consume her. If that's any consolation.
I trust that she knows what she's doing. She always was very good at it. But just do me one favor.
Yes.
In your stories that I'm sure you will write down and tell of your adventures,
Historical documents.
be nice.
I will write the
Historical.
I will write the facts as I have witnessed them.
As you always do. Just be nice to Mercy. Give her a fitting ending.
I shouldn't have to if you bring her back.
Who says I'll come back either?
You're capable. I've heard your stories that you've belted out in the quad.
This is true. I have many stories to tell. And this shall just add to them. So, thank you for your assistance, and I am sorry you had to abandon Mercy.
Good luck.
And I will walk out.
My dear players, what is the plan from here?
Hal would just start heading immediately to horse to ride out.
And you go to Ox because, I mean, he's prepared for a journey almost always.
But when he does start to head that way, he is gonna tap Ugo Go on the shoulder and go, "If we do come upon a Night Walker, it would be wise for you to follow my lead and run. The rumor of them being able to look at someone and kill them is not a rumor." And then he just keeps walking.
A worthy foe. Never fear. We shall overcome any challenge.
I should make clear my intentions. I will run.
And I will cover your escape.
Gosh, this dynamic, I'm loving it.
And when I return, I will tell you of my endeavors.
I'm glad we're getting our laughs out for this very serious campaign.
I was just like, okay, so we're coming back with one
just
less.
Yep.
Mark that one off.
Okay, so that one's dead.
Will kill himself for glory. Where do Alva, Halcyed, and Ugo Go keep their mouths? The edge of the city, close to the university. I really... Ugo Go, you go last, please, for reasons.
Oh no.
Horse would be kept at the college stables, real close to him, and you can see, like, once he gets to the stables, Horse is like this giant black stallion of a war horse, and he just kind of, when Halcyed sees him, he softens up a little bit and he just pats him. "I've missed you, friend. We ride home." And he gets on. "Come, Horse, let's go."
Alva?
So, Mistletoe, the pony, would be tied up like if there's a front gate.
I wouldn't say there's a
Just
gate, but
whatever.
there's like a area that is an entrance. Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's like a tree nearby or something, lamppost, whatever they have here, Mistletoe will be tied up there, laden with bags. Small pony. Alva greets Mistletoe like a dog. So as soon as Alva sees Mistletoe, she's like, "There's a good Mistletoe. Yes, very, very good." And Mistletoe kind of does like the hopping from like 2 feet to 2 feet. Okay, now we take you to Ox. And I will take Mistletoe's lead and start heading to where Ox is, I assume, at the edge of the city, but we'll find out.
Forta, where does Ugo Go keep Ox? And please describe what Ox is.
So, to be perfectly honest, Ugo would have taken Ox into the city as far as they were willing to let him take an entire rhinoceros. Because Ox is very well behaved.
If Ox is well behaved, and you can find a stable large enough, which I think there is, you can bring him fairly far into the city.
Excellent. And when we get there, Ox is just probably munching away on something.
I don't know what rhinos eat, but they're eating something.
Grass, tree leaves, depending on which rhinoceros type it is.
Jeez.
But yeah. So, Ox is a bit odd for a rhinoceros. He seems to kind of shine a little bit. So, yeah, just has this inner glow, and it's just the most beautiful rhinoceros in the world.
And with that, we're gonna go and take a quick 5 to 10 minute break. And everybody pet your pets, hydrate, and we'll be back soon. Bye!
Great.
Hi everybody, and we are back from break. We left off introducing everyone's mouth, a nice warhorse, a little pony named Mistletoe, and a rhinoceros named Ox that glows with an inner light. You are leaving the city and heading out. The city itself is large with winding streets as you begin to head towards the south exit. It is still bustling and tangy of metal, very humid, but it doesn't take too long as Ox is able to carve a path for all of you quite easily. Mistletoe sticks very close to Ox and kind of has a little bit of wild eyes at Halcyed and Agatha for reasons unknown. Agatha, how are you traveling at the moment?
Currently walking, but as we near the gate, I will open up my bag and reach inside and start to pull out a broom, which I then sit on, and it hovers. And as it starts to hover and I mount it, from behind me, this little pop happens, and a large black cat lands on the bristles of the broom and kind of like curls up and seemingly starts to take a nap. They're used to being there.
As you are all heading out towards the exit, one of the guards gives Ox a look, turns to the other guard that is on duty with them, and just kind of mutters under their breath, "You know, rhinoceros would be a really good name for a horse." And then you walk past.
Hugo's just gonna laugh.
It would be ironic, right? Says the second guard.
I don't understand. I believe that horse is a fine name for a horse.
You know, I like the name my horse that I give my horse. This is the guard talking to the guard. Badger's a good name. You can't go wrong with animal names and for other horses. And the conversation dies behind you as you leave the humid heat of Vumalor and enter the dry heat of the sands and desert of Etios. we've only briefly talked about it, but the entire continent, except for a couple set areas, is all desert. And you're headed southwest. It's gonna probably take a day to 2 days to get to where the breach is. Is there anything you would like to talk about or do in the meantime during these 2 days? Whether at
As
camp, while you're traveling.
Agatha typically tries to keep to herself unless someone approaches her. Usually she's found sitting and writing in one of her little notebooks. But she keeps an eye on everybody.
Ugo probably spends the first couple of hours espousing the beauty of the desert and how you can actually breathe the fresh air. Probably ends up getting into conversation about possibly mercy to a point, but also just things in general that have been done in preparation for this expedition. Couldn't think of the word there for a second.
Al is just talking to Horse quietly in deep speech. Just kind of giving comforting coos in this really jagged and rough language.
Nice.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
While Horse may not necessarily completely understand, they are attentive. Like a good horse should be.
Probably about halfway through the first day, Alva starts to compose a song on the pan flutes. While it has a very upbeat sound to it, mostly because of the awkwardness of riding mistletoe and being 5'8". And you would eventually, you would hear snippets of everybody's name as if you inquire, Alva is writing the song of our journey. Excellent.
As you continue making your way through the deserts, Ugo Go, you do recognize, well, the desert is a sprawling vastness of particles that people don't like to get anywhere inside their clothes. There are some landmarks sometimes, whether it's a large rock far off to the east. A bunch of you would know this. There's like a huge black obelisk. Basically way markers like that indicate either direction, in some cases for you, Ugo Go, territory markers and such like that. At some point you do pass one such marker that shows you are entering the territory of the Yiwo. And far in the distance, you can see a dark shadow on the horizon, almost like tendrils of smoke slowly moving across the landscape. It is unnatural in the terms of at least the material plane. And you can only expect that the closer you get, the light from the sun dims.
It truly has gotten worse.
So it seems.
You would
I
know.
hope there are survivors.
You would know that their main encampment is in this direction.
Keep your wits about you. The Yuo are fiercely protective of their lands.
And they are from this area.
Of course.
Have you heard anything from them recently?
No, but that's not entirely abnormal. We aren't on the best of terms.
So should we come to confrontation with these people? Should we use lethal force, or should we leave them alive?
Defend yourself as you must. If you can let them live, then they will live, and if they cannot survive, they cannot survive.
Just the way of the desert.
One of them.
As you continue to approach Ugo Go, you do realize that based off the amount of time you have traveled and where you are seeing this shadowy rift, it has encroached onto their main encampment. And before long, you end up... It's up to you how far away you stop away from this dark mass of shadow, almost similar to a darkness spell, but not. It's not that dark. You can still see into it, but it has encroached on their territory and their main encampment. And in the far distance, you can see the tents and stable structures of what is the Yuo's home. As you get closer, Alva, Mistletoe, is restless.
I'm gonna get off Mistletoe and I'm going to blindfold Mistletoe's eyes and guide Mistletoe the rest of the way.
Okay. It helps, but she's still restless. She could still smell. She could still hear. But it does help a little bit. She trusts you.
Should we see how this has affected the people here? If any have gotten lost or killed due to the expansion of the rift?
And Yuko doesn't exactly answer that, but he goes, Yewo, do you yet live?
How close are you when you say that?
I almost want to say like a hill over, but like whatever the minimum distance of respect is among the clans, and I don't have a direct answer for that.
That's fair. I will say that you are properly in the shadow now. It's not so dark, Alva, at the moment where you need to take out a torch or use a light bearing spell, but it is inconvenient for you, unlike the other three. But Ugo Go, as you yell out and you are able to get a good look at this, first of all, you do not hear anything. And second, what is your perception modifier for me?
+2.
Okay, you would not be able to tell from this distance. And also, I think it would just not be, I think it's just outside your dark vision where you can't see details anyway. Agatha, though, if I remember correctly, you get 120 feet dark vision. As a shadow sorcerer?
Let me double check that.
Damn, that's really good.
It's better than regular dark vision, that's all I remember.
Yeah.
But regardless, compared to Ugo Go's perception, it does seem quiet. There's no sands rolling from the wind. There seems to be, from the tents,
120.
Yeah. You can see this, but it's quiet. You see shredded tents and such like that with yours. I would say it's probably like 100 to 150 feet you would have been away, Ugo Go.
if I'm seeing everybody kind of take account of the situation, I would try and, well, he's trained enough. I'm just going to hop off a horse and tell him in deep speech to, stay here, my friend. And then I'm just going to take my spear and my chain whip and start to make my way on over to what everybody's peeping out.
Mm-hmm.
And I will relay what I can see from where we're at.
This is not good.
Perhaps we should leave the mounts here, and then I have something that will help us pass through this area and let us gather information without necessarily being detected.
Without detection? I mean, to speak with them.
But we don't want to speak with anything that is shadow. No offense.
None
I
taken.
suppose this is wise.
Perhaps allow us to scout first. It shouldn't
Very
take
well.
very long.
And Yuko's gonna
I will
wait
stay
with
here.
Ox.
I will wait with Mistletoe.
Who is scouting?
If Halcyed goes one way, I'll go around the other way.
Okay. I'm assuming you're being stealthy.
Fast and stealthy, yep.
Are you doing anything else? My two shadowy companions.
I'm actually going to take to the sky. I have my winged boots.
Oh, you too? That's awesome.
Wait, is Alva the only one who can't fly?
There's a lot of things she's good at.
I'm just imagining she's scared of heights.
And I'm flying my movement speed, which is 65 feet.
Don't monk shit, yo.
Yeah.
Pulling a Superman.
Okay.
I'll just be staying on my broom and kind of just far enough away that I can still see, but not close enough that if there is anybody there that I'm going to draw much attention.
Okay. I need both of you to make stealth checks, please.
That'll be a dirty 20.
Very nice.
9.
And also perception checks.
That'll be a 27.
That's a 6.
Oh,
Perception? How did you get a 6?
I rolled a 3.
You have a +8 modifier, I thought, to perception.
My passive is
Ridiculous.
ridiculous, yeah, but my modifier is only +3.
Wait, do you have observation? Because no,
Yeah.
observation doesn't add to it. It adds to your wisdom.
I swear you had a +8 to your perception. Because you
No.
no.
I have a +8 to investigation, intimidation, and insight.
Okay, I'll look into that later. I must have been reading your character sheet wrong. But also I feel like with your passive perception, you wouldn't notice that anyway. So let's take like the difference.
Okay.
Because that makes no sense to me.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at your character sheet later. Anyway, as you are all flying, Agatha, you just see Halcyed. He is hard to see as he is flying. He is good at what he does. Very good at what he does. But you are both able to see forms walking through the tents and more stable structures of the Yiwo. You don't see any clan members. And the ones, at least ones that are alive. Occasionally you do see some bodies on the ground, some holding weapons, some not. And a couple of these are being, I don't want to say feasted upon, but they were attacked by creatures that are mangled and gnarled. You see a couple different ones. One is about the size of a human and it has 2 heads and hooks on both of its hands, where hands would be, kind of like a sickle. The second one is also human-sized, seeming to walk on pointed legs like needles, and both of their arms are also needle sharp, and they are prowling.
Well,
Agatha, how high up are you flying?
Probably not very high. Probably about, I don't know, 5 or 10 feet maybe. Just enough to, like, if anybody's walking, they're not gonna
So
notice right away, but
So 5 or 10 feet, I'm assuming, like above like tents and such. Not
Yeah.
above ground. Okay.
yeah.
In that case, what's your armor class, please?
12.
I can't do math, y'all. It comes startlingly close to you. Probably snipping off several strands of your hair close, as one of these creatures with needle-like arms and appendages shoots one out at you.
Oh.
Trying to basically harpoon you.
Lovely.
How do you react?
I'm going to quickly turn around and start to try and move away and make my way kind of like not straight towards the others, but around and towards them to try and, so I'm not leading this thing directly to my companions, but
What's your speed on as you are flying on your broom?
the speed is 30. No, I'm sorry, 50.
You are able to hear whistling through the air again as it tries to shoot its other arm at you, but it falls short.
Do I see all this going down?
Yes, 100%.
Can I act as I see it shooting this other thing at her?
You may.
I would like to throw my spear at it.
You may roll.
Okie dokie.
Because it does not see you. You can get advantage on the roll.
If only I were a rogue. All right.
If only you were a rogue.
That's gonna be a 24 to hit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. I'm attacking with my Centurion Spear, which it basically has the returning ability.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna be 2d6. Oh, that's weak sauce. 8, 9. So that's 9 damage as I just throw the spear at it and have it return to me.
Okay. In that case, you all hear, everyone, even Ugo Go and Alva, a screech that just racks your soul of sorrow and loneliness. And we'll go to initiative since blows have been dealt.
Oh, come on, don't screw me up, my dude.
23.
12.
1 second. I'm gonna ask because I'm also rolling for the things as well.
I rolled double ones on my damage. I'm so bad.
Oh, jeez. Alva.
21.
Ugo.
12.
Agatha.
19.
And what was yours, Halcyed?
23.
Hal, you are up first as you see a bunch of these things, but the ones closest to you are the ones about 60 feet, 65 feet away from Agatha, the one you attacked. And you do see another close one around the corner. The first one I described with these two heads and sickle-like appendages.
All right. So the first thing that I am going to do is I am going to continue hovering above them. I'm going to drop down 5 feet, so it's 60 feet.
Okay, you're at 60 feet.
And then I am actually, correction, I'm going to drop down 35 feet, so I'm within 30 feet of them.
Okay.
And I'm going to use my ability Hour of Reaping. As an action, each creature within 30 feet of me must succeed a wisdom saving throw or be frightened of me until the end of my next turn.
Okay.
And it's basically he is looking at each one and telling them how they're going to die in deep speech.
Oh. I don't think those will match your DC.
It's a DC 18.
Yeah, and neither of those, any modifiers is gonna reach your DC. I need better dice. And it's the frightened condition?
It is the frightened condition.
Okay, thank you. Alva. Sorry, did you have a bonus action or anything?
Nah, we'll just leave it there.
Alva.
I'm still holding on to Mistletoe by Ox. Is Ox panicking? Or does Ox seem...
No, Ox would not panic.
Okay.
Mistletoe is panicked.
Yeah.
Make an animal
I'm gonna
handling check.
Yeah. Yeah. Bring a pony to the Shadowfell.
Can that please be the new bring a gun to a knife fight? Bring a knife to a gunfight.
Bring a pony to the Shadowfell. That's good.
Yeah.
So that is an 8.
Oh dear.
She is able to slip her reins out of your hands, and while she cannot see, she's not bolting because she cannot see you. Put the blindfold on her, but she is moving in a direction backwards from where she can hear the screech and now sounds of terrifying deep speech.
I'm just gonna look back at her and say, "Good, keep going that way. Don't go forward." And then I am going to take out my rapier, and I'm going to run forward.
You are about 100 feet away if you did not move forward.
If I do or do not.
If you move forward, just in general, you're about 100 feet away.
Okay, I would move up my my full 30 feet just to get closer to the companions.
Okay. Are you going to do anything for your action? Because you can dash if you would like to. And move 60 feet.
Oh, I'll take the dash then.
Okay.
And I'll go up 60 feet.
Perfect.
Does it get darker the closer I get, or?
No. It's still
Okay.
like, in this area, it's probably like twilight-ish. You are fine for now.
Okay.
Agatha. Unless you have a bonus action, Alva. Agatha.
Okay. How close am I to the thing that shot needles at me?
Probably
at
like
this
60.
point?
It's like 65 feet away.
65 feet. Okay.
It was just shy of shooting at you.
All right. I will hop off of my broom and kind of let it just hover there and shoot a chaos bolt at it.
I was so confused for a second, but no, you will not plummet to the ground. You are fine. Because are you jumping off while you're still flying?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm gonna wiggle my nose and kind of.
Okay, you start to gently descend to the ground. You roll to attack for your chaos bolt.
Okay. Well.
You hit, but it does not seem to do anything as this chaotic magic plays across its like tough skin.
Okay. And I don't have any bonus actions that I would want to use, so
Okay.
I'm just gonna wait and see what it does now.
Okay. There is the sound of gnashing teeth from two sets of mouths as one of these other creatures that you saw, not the one with the spear-like appendages, but the one with the sickle hands, rushes in. It kind of just looks up at you, Halcyed, salivating.
Let's have at it.
Actually, no, it does not move forward at you. It does not move forward to you, but it does look up at you, salivating.
Okay.
Never mind, it does not move towards you. Ugo Go.
Right. So now there's the sounds of combat.
There are.
And Ugo just kind of sighs and urges Ox forward. Not at a run, just moving his 40 feet forward.
Okay. Is Ox taking a double movement? Can
Nope.
he attack? Okay, you're just moving forward.
Just moving forward. I am, however, going to activate my fancy shield, so it's gonna hover. It's gonna hover while I have my hands free.
Okay. Halcyed.
Okay. I'm gonna hover down to the one that's salivating, and I'm gonna give it a meal. We're going with a stab with the spear. That's 18 plus 12.
Oh yeah, that totally hits.
That's the first attack. Second attack. Okay, I hold 1 second.
Do you need to switch out your dice?
No, well, I mean, I just got a natural 20. I was about to point the camera.
Oh no, you're good. I believe you.
Okay.
Fuck them up. Fuck them up.
All right. So the second one's a nat 20. And then I'm gonna pop a key point for flurry of blows.
Do it up.
That is a 13 plus 10. And the fourth one is a 11 plus 10, so 21.
They all hit.
Okay. So for the first spear,
if you want to just, since you already used your bonus action, if you want to roll the damage and let me know during Alva's turn, and we can keep combat going.
and if it doesn't drop him, I was just going to drop one more key point to make it a stunning attack.
It will not drop, so you can make it a stunning attack.
Okay, so it will be a stunning attack as well.
What is?
So he has to make a Constitution save, DC 18.
Okay, 18.
Mm-hmm.
Natural 20.
Blurb. Okay.
While Noir rolls damage, would you like to go, Alva?
So where I'm at, 40 feet out, can I see any of these beings, or can I see the conflict that's happening?
You can hear the conflict and tell the general direction where it is because Agatha is slowly hovering down. And you can still see more or less Halcyed, but there's too many tents and stuff in the way to get a good line of sight. But you know the general direction.
Got it. So I will continue up to 30 feet to move in that general direction, seeking out the foes that we're fighting, because I haven't seen them yet.
Once you move forward 30 feet, I'll say you get line of sight to the one that was going for Agatha. And you see this thing with basically spears for all its limbs.
Oh, wow.
All right. That was 56 damage, by the way. Sorry.
Thank you.
Nice. It's chilling. I will then, on that being, I will cast Cloud of Daggers.
Okay.
So it's a 5-foot cube, centered onto the being, and the creature takes 4d4 slashing damage when it enters the spell area for the first time.
Okay.
Or starts its turn there.
Okay. So when it's turn, it will take damage.
And then as a bonus action, I will kind of whistle this tune and give Agatha Bardic Inspiration.
Perfect. Speaking of, Agatha, you have gently ascended to the ground.
Okay. I'm going to try and sit I'm like 65 feet away from it.
Roughly, yes.
Roughly. Okay. So I'm gonna move up just so I make sure I'm in that 60 feet, and I'm
Yeah.
going to use.
Now that you're on the ground, though, you can't. There's tents and stuff in the way.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Then I'm gonna try to move around the tent so I can get a line of sight
Okay.
on this creature.
Not within 60 feet.
Well, then I'll move until I can.
I could say you can get within 30 feet and get maybe not they would have some cover, but you can see
Okay.
them.
All right. I'll still try to use it.
Okay.
I'm gonna use ice knife.
All right. Roll to hit.
Okay. 23.
Yes, that will hit, even with cover.
All right. Three damage.
3 damage. Perfect. It looks fine. It's a paper cut.
And that's all I'm gonna do for now.
Halcyed. Even though this thing, you just delivered a hefty blow to this thing, it is still hungry looking. It is going to attempt to bite you.
Okay.
What is your, that's not going to hit. I don't think that's going to hit. 12s do not hit.
No, my AC is 20.
However, the second one does.
Okay.
As it slices at you with a natural 20.
Ugh.
Yeah, it'll be 32 points of piercing damage.
Yikes.
Ugo Go.
Yep. So now is the time to charge. So just kind of the slow jog up, slowly getting faster. So now anybody down there, you hear the thunder coming.
Do you go through the tents?
If they're in the way, he's not expecting any survivors at this point.
Tents are torn beneath Ox's stampede.
All right. And whomever gets come across first is going to be, what's the word? Gonna have Ox use his, action to, gore, potentially.
That would be the one that is attacking Agatha.
Excellent! So yeah, just gets hit with a rhinoceros real quick.
Oh.
Give me one moment to roll this. That is 19 plus 7.
Oh, yeah. That is a very gory attack.
So, yeah. So, not only does he take the regular 14 bludgeoning, he takes an extra 9 and must succeed on a DC 15 strength save or be knocked prone.
It looks like he is about to be completely trampled underneath Ox's hooves, but he kind of sticks, not mechanically, but just kind of sticks two of its feet into the ground to keep itself standing.
Okay.
How much damage was it? 12 plus 9?
14 plus 9.
Okay, thank you.
Why can't I do math right now?
It's okay.
1, 2, 3.
I'm
math-
also going to take a bonus action real
Okay.
quick, and I'm going to activate my spiritual weapon.
Attack.
Just gonna drop that behind me as I'm continuing on.
You can attack with a spiritual weapon on the first turn you summon it.
Oh, excellent. Then yeah,
My partner
Up
has played
comes
way
this-
too many clerics.
big ol', it looks like a pickaxe on one end and a hammer on the other, and it just this really kind of cruel looking weapon. And
Roll to hit.
Gonna attack with that. Give me 1 sec. That's 11 plus 8 is 19.
That'll hit.
Excellent. Let me roll the damage real quick. 7.
Okay, thank you. This thing looks at you, and it's tries to attack you, but it seems like the things it's made out of are made for launching, not for close combat. So it can't really get a good hit off on you easily.
All right.
I do not think a 11 is gonna hit.
No.
So it does not hit.
Where is that the one that's in the cloud of
yes.
daggers?
Yep. Roll the damage.
8 damage.
Okay, thank you. Halcyed.
All right. He's just gonna kind of hold the wound that he got and just smile and in deep speech tell the creature, "I know how I die, and it is not here, and it is not today." And he is going to stab again with the spear. That is 13 plus number.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see.
AC
Then
is 18.
Okay. Then a 25 will definitely hit.
Oh yeah, totally.
And then I'm gonna pop another key point. That brings me down to 11. For 2 more unarmored. Unarmored strikes.
Yep.
And I'm going to make another one of these a stunning strike again. I'm gonna make this first one a stunning strike. So
Okay.
if he can make his Constitution check.
It fails.
All right. And that is more than 18. And because he failed, he is stunned, and the last attack gets to be at advantage.
Do it up.
Okay, I'm not gonna change the camera, but that's another that's one.
I'm here for it. Do it up.
All right. So numbers. We can go on to the next while I do
Okay.
damage.
Alva.
So, is the one, the Cloud of Daggers one, is that within 30 feet of me?
Yes.
Can I get in melee range?
You can.
So I'm gonna move into melee range, and then for my bonus action, I'm gonna speak in Primordial the word blood, and light up my rapier because it's a flame tongue rapier. So now it is on fire, and there's a lot of light.
You can see much easier.
Yes, bright light for 40 feet, and then dim light for 40 more feet, so everyone can see better. And I am going to try to smack it with the sword.
Okay. If I remember, you're good at that.
I try. That is a 25 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
And that is gonna be 50 points of damage for me.
All right, thank you.
So it's going to take 7 piercing damage, 8 fire damage,
Okay.
and I'm going to use my defensive flourish. So he does take an extra 3 damages,
Mhm.
and I am going to be adding that 3 to my AC for my next turn.
Perfect. Halcyed. No, sorry, Agatha.
Yeah.
Agatha. There's
Okay.
too many A's on this sheet of mine. And they're all in a row.
Okay. I'm gonna move up so I can see the one with the needles a little bit better. And I'm going to cast Fireball on it.
Which fireball?
Wait, it's a
Fireball on the one
range.
that Alva and Ugo Go are in.
Perhaps that's not a good idea.
You have meta magic.
True.
It's up to you.
I just want to know how close am I to this future nuke site.
I think you're just out of range, Halcyed.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, Agatha.
Okay, yeah. I'll use a sorcery point to use meta magic
Okay.
so that they don't get hit, and then cast Fireball on it.
I think they automatically succeed on their saving throws.
They automatically succeed on their saving throws.
Okay, start rolling the
So-
damage while I roll the saving throw. So Dex saving throw for the creature.
Yes.
That's not gonna pass. Alva, Ugo Go, and Ox roll.
A dumb question.
Yeah.
If it makes it so they automatically succeed on their saving throw, doesn't that mean they still take half?
Yes.
Oh no.
Oh no! Oh, no! I hope y'all got evasion.
So Alva, Ugo Go, and Ox need to make saving throws. There's a fireball on you. It's hot.
Is it Dex?
It's Dex.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys automatically make it. You just take.
Oh yeah,
the
that's
half.
right. My
Yeah,
B.
you
Sorry, my
Just
bad.
take half damage.
I'm sorry.
So
I never take that meta magic, so as a sorcerer. So
I
I'm going for it.
So like,
Also-
but just for narrative's sake, like it's clear that like
Yeah, just
Hugo at least just absolutely would not have succeeded in even avoiding the slightest bit of this damage. So like,
Yeah,
that some of it is, not affecting him is.
my save DC is 16, so
but they succeed. What's the damage, Sev?
30.
Okay. You both take 15. As does
All right,
Ox.
guys. Listen, this thing shot needles at me. I'm upset.
What does it look like when you kill the one with the hook hand, the spear hands, Agatha?
I walk around the one tent and I just power up this fireball and just kind of throw it directly at the head of this guy.
If you don't mind, the fire seems to be condensing on this creature surrounded by knives and sorrow. And while you and Alva and Ugo Go and Ox feel the heat, it unnaturally moves around you, just so you're only feeling the edges lick at your heels. Halcyed, you still have this creature in front of you. Is it stunned until
it's
the
stunned
next...
until the end of my turn.
Okay, it cannot do anything because that's a
Yep.
dope condition. So then it goes down to Ugo Go. There's a lot of tents on fire, some of which have already fallen over from the blast, and you can see Halcyed fighting another creature probably about 65 feet away.
Okay.
Because he was just outside the blast range.
Excellent.
Wait, no, it's 30 feet radius. No, it's a 30-foot radius, 60-foot diameter.
Yes.
Good old fireball.
Good old fire. It's such a good spell. So,
AKA call the weak.
oh, no. He's about
20
40,
foot.
He's
Yeah.
about 40 to 45 feet away. He's just outside the range.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
20-foot like sphere.
All right. So Hugo's gonna, Ox doesn't turn on a dime, so like I say spins on his heel, but like in reality, this rhino slowly, wheels around and like goes in that direction. And I'm gonna move the spiritual weapon along with me as far as it'll go.
I think it's only
20
can
feet.
move 30 feet, so it won't be able to make it right away.
Yep. And yeah, so I think I gotta keep it within 30 feet of me, but I think I can maintain that even if I get close enough.
Yeah, even I don't think that's what it is, but regardless, it's still fine because you're in range.
Yep. So another, movement of Ox and I guess double movement for Ox to get close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because 45 feet. He's only got a movement of 40. So I think that's about my turn. Although I'm gonna...
You can go. I'll say you can't move, but you can definitely attack. I'll say you share the same movement speed.
Okay.
But you're just within range.
Alrighty. Then I'm gonna whip out some wonderful
Pain.
pain, but hit it with my war pick, which is vicious, and one good smite, just for good measure.
Do it up. Roll to hit.
Doing that in... Yeah. Ooh. Yikes. Does a 12 hit?
It does not.
Damn.
But it is stunned.
Does that grant me advantage? Excellent. Does a 17 hit?
No.
Damn.
It's kind of swaying on its... Wait, no. No, it does not hit. It's kind of like swaying on its feet. You just barely miss. You hit, but it's just like glancing. And I believe you have more than one attack at your level.
Do I?
Paladin should.
You are correct. Yeah. So let's try that again, and hopefully one of these finally manages to freaking hit it. Okay. Does a 22 hit?
It does.
Okay. Damn.
What level smite are you putting into this thing?
Second level.
Okay.
Give me a moment. I'll roll up the damage, but whomever's going next can go right ahead.
That'll be Hal.
All right.
You have a rhino next to you.
He's gonna do some cool monk shit and just kind of like hop off the rhino and stab down with his spear.
I'll say you can do it, but do you want to roll to see how cool it is?
Hell yeah, I do. That was I rolled with advantage. I rolled an 18 and a 1 for the first attack.
Okay.
For his acrobatics, that is a 16 plus 10.
The dopest.
So 26.
It's the dopest monk shit.
Then he there's a 19 plus number
Yep.
to hit. Yeah, he's gonna pop one more for another fury of blows, bringing my key points now to 9.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because this is ridiculous. That skull is the 20.
Are those two 20s?
No, that's a 13 and a 20.
Oh my jeez.
Oh my god.
Those dice are
And-
rolling hot.
And the last one is a 2 and a 15.
Yeah, with the with everything that will hit.
Okay. So I'll do math for numbers.
Okay. We're gonna wait because this might do it.
Okay. Then in that case, let's see. 6 plus 7.
I realized I was muted telling you the damage from Ugo's attack.
Oh, yeah. What is Ugo's damage?
So that was 23 total.
Okay.
Some of that is radiant.
It doesn't
Hang on.
doesn't matter for the type, so you're okay.
Okay, excellent.
Okay.
And so our total's going to be 54.
Halcyed. How do you do it?
after he stabs down and cuts across with his spear, that is named Spear, he does a few pressure points, and you see the soul of this creature taken out, and he absorbs it, which is part of his ability called I forgot what it's called, but he gets hit points equal to his monk level now for that. So he just pressure points, removes the soul, takes it, and you see the cut across his chest start to close a bit.
Beautiful. In the middle of the Yiwo tribe's basically home base, it is on fire as you are standing over these two creatures slain before you. What do you do?
First thing Hal's gonna do is he's going to start to see if there's anyone here that clearly is not a combatant and more like a refugee now at this point, and try and help them out.
Okay. We will get to that. Agatha, Alva, and Ugo.
Agatha will also start looking around to see if anybody survived.
Yeah,
Uh,
pretty much the same. Just calling out for people more so than just looking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also going to take some time to heal Ox a bit, because
Okay.
that was some...
That's fair.
We're in the danger zone.
With enough...
I'm gonna...
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I
Sorry.
was just gonna... The body in front of us, the mostly singed, possibly. I'm going to start investigating.
Okay. If you want to roll me a knowledge check, most applicable would be nature or arcana. I'll let you choose. But Agatha, Halcyed, and Ugo Go, as you are looking around, it doesn't take long, especially since there's 3 of you looking. There are slain of the Yiwo tribe. A majority of them seem to be warriors and combatants of some sort, but not enough to make up like the entire group. So you can assume some ran away. Among the deceased Ugo Go, you do see Noroyi. Weapons still clenched in his hands.
Then at least he stood with his people.
Alva, what did you roll for your check?
I got a 17 for Arcana.
Yes. I will say that's probably not enough to differentiate the two, like the ones that there, because there's 2 different ones. But you would know that these creatures are something called Sorrowsworn. In the Shadowfell, sometimes emotions can take form, and they become a physical presence. This melancholy creates them as a physical essence of their bleak nature. It is a form of suffering thrown upon the shadowy landscape. So these are Shadowfell inhabitants.
Nobody else is really paying attention to Alva at this point. As she does the investigation. She does shed a few tears. And then she straightens up and will start putting out some fires if possible.
That is simple enough.
Ugo Go. You know these people, do you not?
Some. I did not meet all of them.
In what way do they lay their slain to rest?
That really depends on where it is they fell and how. When we are able, we may burn them, but we also may leave them for the sky.
Is that how they would have it done?
I doubt any birds would come here, though. Looking up at that shadow in the sky.
Shall we
You see-
make a pyre then for them?
And honestly, he's just kind of looking around at all their tents and stuff, and it's just like... I do not... Yes, this would be wise. I do not believe these would be hot enough fires to do the job.
Then we will lay them we will lay them with respect, so that the matron can guide their way. And you just see him start to pick up bodies.
Yep.
Is there
Ugo
any...
will aid with it.
As you begin to lay these bodies to rest, is there anything else anyone else would like to do before I close out the session with a final narrative piece?
After dealing with the dead, Ugo will want to find tracks to see potentially what direction the rest of the UO went.
Okay. Do you want to make me a survival check?
Sure. Come on, give me something good. 20, dirty.
It is fairly simple. There is a lot of tracks. They were not making any effort to cover them, but there is a large quantity of tracks, like a bunch of people going at once, heading to the north.
All right. That's reassuring, at least.
Mm-hmm. Some animal tracks, some pack animals probably, as well.
And I think he's probably going to leave a marker of some kind, both as monument and warning to what had happened.
Okay. That is simple.
That's pretty much it.
Hal's just gonna gather he's gonna gather horse, and if he gets the okay, mistletoe, and bring them to Alva, and just say to the group, we survived our first combat together. I think while we travel, it would do us well to discuss how we did and how we can improve.
Coordination would be improved should we do this, yes. Hugo's gonna put a hand on Halcyed's shoulder, and I'm gonna dump some lay on hands onto you.
You see the wound fully close. Appreciate it. And like
look around, are any of the others injured?
It's fireball.
Well, yeah.
If you're close enough, you're also getting some. Just pull you all in this kind of like group moment. Here we go, just healing time.
It is kind of weird as you see the wound close. You do hear the soul that he absorbed kind of go. Ah!
Beautiful.
That is unsettling.
Agatha, Alva?
There's nothing really else that she would want to do at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, Alva, after the group hug, would just start pulling up kind of like a makeshift circle of chairs or things to sit on, and say, well, now's our time before we go in for more adventure.
Okay. And do we want to enter the Shadowfell tonight? Before the end of the session, or should we leave it for the next session?
I'm fine with leaving it till the next
I think they're leaving it to the next session.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, this little powwow of chairs, we will come back to next week on session 2 of Veil of Shadows. How's everybody feeling?
Pretty good.
Good.
That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Heck yeah.
So,
Sorry for setting you guys on fire.
are you?
No worries.
Are you? All right, let's get a little more cheery music as we do sign-offs. Hey everybody, thank you for joining us for the first session of Veil of Shadows, a D&D 5e campaign. Next session will be set in the Shadowfell. You know how first sessions go, exposition and stuff like that. Anyway, thank you so much. We're gonna do sign-offs where people can tell you where you can find them, any projects they have going up, and your favorite part. So, who would like to go first?
I can go.
I'll do it. Oh,
Oh, oh,
Yep.
oh,
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 oh. I'll go and then you can go.
Okay, that works. That works.
Okay, there we go. Hi everybody, I'm Shadow. You can find me on Twitter at ShadowBookCat. I have several different projects here and there. The most recent one's coming up this upcoming Saturday, the 29th. You can find me over on the Lady Dames channel at 9 p.m. Pacific time for the infamous Smutty Saturday. We'll be doing Shakespearean smut, so come and find out what that means. We'll have a good time. Then on Sunday, May 2nd at 9 a.m. Pacific time, I'll be over on a Theater Files channel for Caitlin's birthday stream, doing a Genesis game. It's going to be chaotic space fun. Otherwise, I'll be here for the next several Sundays, 7:30 Central, playing Alva.
Oh, me now. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Noir. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram as The Noir Enigma. You can find me on TikTok as just Noir Enigma because I forgot my password. You can find me tomorrow over on Roll20's channel where I produce and play in Kids on Bikes with a fantastic cast. You can find me tomorrow evening over on Critical Misses where I GM our Roll20 Spotlight game Kingsguard. And on Tuesday, you can find me over on LFM Network where I play with the Perception Studio team. It's me, puppets, and Call of Cthulhu, so that's pretty fun. And I've got a bunch of other projects. Please take a look at my Twitter for my timeline. I'll choose who goes next. I don't care. I'll
Popcorn it.
Do it.
Popcorn. Do it.
Do
Okay.
Do it.
All right. That's gonna be you, Sev.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Sev. You can find me on basically everywhere as Guildmaster Sev. I don't have any major projects going on right now, but I am a variety streamer that plays mostly story-based games and a lot of Dead by Daylight and Phasmophobia. My schedule's a little up in the air right now, so if you want to check out for that, follow my Twitter. I'll be posting there whenever I go live again.
Forta?
I suppose I do have to do the sign off. I'm Forta, at Fortavare on Twitter and most other places. And if I'm not at Fortavare, I'm LexArts with 2 X's. Next place you can find me is the Polished Cryptids channel. And we'll be playing some 5e, The Wandering Menagerie, where we're about to go into probably a Den of Sirens, so that's going to be exciting. Yeah. Bunch of other stuff going on, but timeline-wise, I'm just kind of scattered right now.
What was everyone's favorite part?
Oh, right!
I always forget too. It's fine.
I messed it up.
Yeah.
I messed it up.
Okay.
We'll get the hang of it. It's the first night.
Favorite part was, don't mess with this thing. I'm gonna mess with this thing.
Let's go backwards. Seb, what's your favorite part?
I think my favorite part was the little interaction between Agatha and Priscilla. The little goodbye.
Noir?
For me, it's just all the little stuff. Like I love everybody's mounts. I love that we've basically got a giant himbo that's about to get themselves killed. So yeah, I loved it all.
Shadow?
My favorite part was definitely the fireball. I absolutely love
Live that
it.
down.
Never be afraid to cast fireball on me.
I'll tell you my
Just
favorite
such
fireball
great
story.
character development.
I'll tell you
Yeah,
my
but
favorite
nope.
later.
Don't bards get evasion? Am I imagining that?
I think there's one college that gets it, but I don't remember
I
which
could
one
have
it
sworn
is.
bards got evasion. I don't know why.
At least I used my sorcery point to
Help.
Yeah.
You only used half damage.
No, I guess not. Wow.
Yep. And last but not least, hi, I'm Mare. You can find me on Twitter at Archmage of Dice, where I will yell about my schedule. I also stream on Twitch. My variety streaming is currently on hold, except for Sundays, where I play Golden Sun with my partner, the game that brought us together. And I also run an Invisible Sun campaign. On Saturdays, we will be back the 24th, so this coming Saturday, at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am also going to be in the charity stream on May 2nd. I don't remember the time. I'm the second game. I can't remember the time slot, but I'll be running a one-shot in my homebrew world again. And every other Tuesday, I'm on Grandcracker's channel in Anarian's Rest, where I play my Wartificer multi-class, so Warlock, Artificer, River. I think that's everything. And I'm in a couple upcoming one-shots. I'll scream at them on Twitter.